topics. Again, we could get it into it, but it's up to you guys to call in if you have questions. We have a real live estate and probate attorney here. Attorney Melissa Wilson is joining us today on the Suzette Speak Show live. Again, you can catch me every Thursday, Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. We're talking about wills and estates, and we're trying to figure out what we need to do to be better prepared for such a time when we, unfortunately, everybody has to face what happens to their assets, right?
Right.
So when we talk about passing along our assets to other people, and we're talking about wills, right? So it's a legal document that basically tells others when you're no longer with us here on the earth what you want them to do with your assets. Now,
Exactly.
can you describe first what assets are? Because some people don't think they have any assets.
Assets can be even things that are your liabilities. So let's say you own a home and you're not paid off, it's still considered an asset and it can be passed through the wills. What happens when generally a lot of my clients, let's say a loved one dies and has a mortgage on the property, the only way someone can refinance that property that is not the heir the beneficiary of that estate is by going through probate. So I
Yeah.
have a lot of people that contact me because, hey, now mom, dad left this house to us, but we can't do anything with it until we get what they call an order of administration from probate court.
All right, so let's break that down. So for the non-attorneys listening, again, Suzette speaks here alongside attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal. Integrity Legal is a law firm that's here to serve, again, immigration cases, family law cases, as well as estates and probate. So people hear this word probate. Must every person who passes on, must their assets go through a probate?
Well, that depends, as our famous attorney answer. It really depends on how they left the estate, right? So there are trusts that can avoid probate. Trusts are also legal documents that tell people who the person who deceased or died what they want done with their property. But the major difference between the will and the trust is that it can avoid for probate because it's a document that does not have to be filed with the court. So you might have a certificate of trust filed, just let alerting people to know that there's a trust in regards to that person who died. But that is very personal. It's a document that only the people who are beneficiaries are the people who, let's say your dad died and you're the son or the daughter, you are what they call a beneficiary of the estate. You are an heir to the state because your dad passed and left something to you as a son and daughter. So that's what they call an heir or beneficiary. So trusts are sometimes, depending on your state, better vehicles because now it can avoid this expensive probate process, which is you have to get a death certificate, show it to the court, and there's a whole long process. And bear in mind that in the state of Florida, no one can be self-represented when it comes to probate. In the state of Florida, you have to be a licensed attorney to process probate.
Okay, so learned a lot there. I want to make sure our audience and the listeners understand what we're saying. Welcome again. Suzette speaks alongside attorney Melissa Wilson, talking more about her specialty, probate, wills, estates, trust, if I can say it, estates and trust, wills, probate. There's a lot of words there that we hear all the time, but we might not know the definitions of. So can you define what a probate is?
So probate is the process of the court um, deciding what the intentions of that person who died really wanted. So if there is a will, the probate judge reviews the will and decides who will be what they call an executor of the estate. What an executor is just a fancy word for someone who's going to be looking after the estate, um, giving the assets to everyone. Basically, the person controlling the personal items and real property of that estate and distributing to the family members or other people that the person wanted it to go to. Because remember, a will or a trust, if you die with that, it doesn't necessarily only have to go to your family members. It can go to anyone you like, the church, friends, nieces, uncles. So that's why the wills and trusts are preferred because then you get to choose who you'd like these things to go to.
Okay, so can a person sign a handwritten will in the state of Florida?
No, that is what they call a holographic will. I don't know if you guys are following Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin died. They thought intestate, which means without a will or trust. But then about a couple of years after, they found like some crumbled
Piece of paper
piece
in
of
the couch
paper in a
underneath
couch,
and stuff.
one in the
Listen.
cupboard, and in that state of Michigan, I'm sorry, Detroit.
Yeah, Michigan. Mm-hmm.
Detroit, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
She's from Detroit, and basically what happened is that they do accept those type of things. That's why it's very important to get a licensed attorney where your property is actually done, because in Florida that is not valid will.
So one thing I am grateful that she brought up, Attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal PA with us in the building. Thank you guys who are also watching online. You know you can take Voice of the Caribbean with you. You can either watch us online on our internet page, or you can also download the app. It's important that we stay in touch no matter where you are across this country. So what she's talking about is how different states have different laws. So you can't make an assumption because we live in Florida. We're discussing it from the perspective of what happens in Florida. But as she brought up, if you lived in another state, if you where they call domicile, right? You have your license there, your property there, other things. You might have different rules. So we want to bring that to the conversation today to make sure you understand what we're discussing is a Florida perspective. But in Florida, you're not permitted to submit handwritten wills. So that's the important takeaway. Like you said, Aretha Franklin happened to pass away and was domiciled in Detroit, Michigan. And it was one piece of big dispute. It's still going on, actually.
It is actually. They just, after 5 years, they finally, 5 years of court, remember? 5 years
with court fees. Hello, somebody. We have to pay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After 5 years, they finally figured out which will actually rule. So the second will was, I believe, the one that they're going to go with. But now they have to have a whole litigation about how the assets are going to be distributed, because which will is going to be basically they're going to see which will is going to control on the different assets. So even though they pick that asset, they still have, like, there's two different sets of assets that she put on the papers. So now they're going to compare and contrast the wills just to see what assets are really going to be distributed
and how. That's crazy. Y'all hit the like button. You're watching on Facebook. I see you out there. Thank you so much for listening today. Suzette Speak Show is a very special edition. We have an attorney with a specialty talking about wills and trust. Again, we as a community don't prepare enough when it comes to the unlikelihood and the likelihood that we are going to perish at some point, and we have assets that people who love us and depend on us are going to need to know what to do with. So as we are discussing today, again, if you have any specific questions, you can call us 850-446-0562. Get you right in touch. 850-446-0562. Get you right in touch. Right now, she's here in the studio, but she also has a website and a phone number where she can be reached in case you have specific questions.
Yes, you can reach me and book your free consultation. I do 30-minute free telephone consultations, and the phone number for that, the website to do that is www.integritylegalfl.com, or you can call me to set an appointment, 954-317-9934.
All right, I think we do have a caller. Listen, y'all, I say call and you guys call right away. Hold on. Let me see if I can bring the caller on. Good afternoon, caller. Good afternoon. Yes. Is President Trump in problem right now? Yeah. Okay, immigration and President Trump. Thank you, caller. I appreciate the question. Thank you for calling in. Again, we are here for the people. Again, Voice of the Caribbean is a Caribbean diaspora radio station. So some of the issues that we talk about here, it do include immigration. And Attorney Melissa Wilson does also practice immigration. Now, we talk about wills and trust today. However, we will answer that question. What do you think will happen if President Trump? I know it's hard to, use your crystal ball, but a lot of people are concerned about immigration. Can you give us a general sense of what you think some of the trends may be, or how it will change if Trump presidency comes about?
Yes, I can definitely say something towards that, because remember, he was our president for 4 years, right? And then that trend when he was president, he did not allow a lot of immigrations. He was trying to do everything in his power to stop immigration from happening. So that if that's any testament to what he'll do in the future, I agree. We got to try to see if we can get another candidate.
Hello, somebody, because you know, the send them back kind of thing is what he has been espousing, what he's been saying at his campaign rallies thus far. So if there's any indication of what he really believes when it comes to immigration, that can give you an incentive to call an attorney like Melissa Wilson and get your paperwork in order. A lot of us have been living in the States as permanent resident or, you know, on some other type of visa. You might want to consider changing your status to become a U.S. citizen for that reason, protecting yourself in case the laws change. And again, we don't know what will happen. We can only speculate based on the statements he's made. I know you have also, we have a lot more to come up with, a lot more to come with attorney Melissa Wilson. You have a special event tomorrow.
Yes,
so if people want to continue the conversation on wills and trusts, we're talking about estate planning, y'all. How to make sure you prepare to will. We're going to talk about some scenarios where, say you are in a blended family, say your loved one is a stepchild or you are a stepchild of somebody. We got to get into some of the details because people don't really understand how property passes along. But tell us real quick where you're going to be tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow I have the privilege of presenting a wills and trust seminar at my home church, which is Our Father's Kingdom Ministries International. Big up Papa San. And
Papa San Church. Hey, I didn't know Papa San Church. Okay, so tomorrow on Saturday, what time?
And it's going to be at 2:30 to 4, and the address is 4412 North University Drive, Lauderdale, Florida 33351, and that again is from 2:30 to 4, and it's going to be a free seminar. Very light refreshments.
Hey, light refreshments, but it's important that we do this. Again, we have to protect ourselves and protect our elders. We're talking about the transfer of wealth. Yes. And again, within our community, Caribbean community, the Black community, we don't do a good job sometimes, and it costs people more than it should to dispose of, as we say, take care of and distribute back the assets. After you pay all of the lawyer, them you lose all the money where grandma didn't leave you because everybody's now confused because there was no will or there was no trust. We're going to get into the difference. I know she brought it up, but I want to break down a little bit more the difference between a will and a trust and making sure you understand what it is that you can be doing to prepare your family. Attorney Melissa Wilson, Integrity Legal, she helps people all the time when it comes to developing a will. Lots of people call me. This is who I refer to. You can check her out to see if she meets your needs. But Integrity Legal PA is where she works, and she's here to serve the Caribbean American community to make sure you are prepared. We have a lot more. Don't go anywhere. We're going to break this down even more. I know, tough topic today, but we're going to get ready for Labor Day. CMU, stay tuned. We have much more right after this. So we are popping. We got a little but now okay, perfect. Shout out to everybody watching online. Big up yourselves. Live on the radio, Attorney Melissa Wilson with you today. We're having fun, y'all. I know it's a heavy topic, but don't worry. We're gonna make it a little lighter. I think it's going well. You feel good? You can stop your recording and then you can restart it. Yeah. What's camera that they're showing? So this right now on the line, we have cameras all the way around. This camera, that one in the corner. So if they're watching on the app at home, you can see us. So when we're walking up and down, get ready. They're watching. When you do that, I try not to think about it. But if you're watching on the app, you can get the full body view. Hallelujah. You know, I put on my good stuff yet, you know, so they can see us. But yeah, Mikey has it set up so they can see this, what's going on. This one, I think they're 4 or 5. So there's one in the back, but it just goes there. That one is the upper one. No, this one. No. So yeah, that one looks like an overhead. Oh, maybe it's that one. Yeah, it's that one. So we're a little bit of everywhere. This one's 2 over there. So everybody can see us. That's why I make sure I put on my things. I'm gonna put on my things today. Exactly. But I think people will be all right with it. But yeah, we're here. I'm rocking with Melissa Wilson. And we had 2 power outages the last couple of days. I'm grateful today we didn't have any thunder and no lightning around South Florida. So we actually look like we'll be good. So we have a quick second here, y'all. Sit and stay. Take it easy. I'm gonna pull up a chair here. All right, so you want to pivot. A little bit of I'm gonna pivot a little bit. Actually, I can sit if I wanted to give me a little rest here and pull up to my peoples. There we go. That's comfortable. All right, so when we come back, we got about 2 minutes. Come, you good? Uh-oh, you turn me. I usually leave my keys and stuff. No problem. All right, appreciate you.
2024 edition of Taste of Lauderdale Lakes, presented by
commercials. We got like maybe 2 minutes actually.
Join us on September
2 minutes of commercials left.
Oh, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Tours Memorial Park for an unforgettable evening of culinary delights and artistic
So,
experiences.
my mom got her
Enjoy
visa
delicious food and
first
beverage
push,
tasting,
push.
live
Get it
music,
Tuesday.
artist
Yeah.
games,
She's
and
coming
live
up. Do I
painting,
have to buy a
plus
two-way for
savor
her?
exclusive
First time for her
celebrations
traveling?
by local nearest. Tickets are available now on
Because they
I
have
think you have to buy return.
I think you have to buy return.
Oh,
Yeah, she has up to 6 months.
that's what I thought. I don't know. Number a chance. I wouldn't do a one way. Them time, yeah. That kind of. Pardon?
Are you a
I'm not. Actually, I don't have a stamp right now, but I am.
I just have my son.
Yeah, I'm technically. You walk with it?
In my briefcase.
You're so funny. You will get refinance?
It's no longer
Foreclosure. Okay, so you want to do it after? Are you coming back? You're coming back?
Everybody here?
Listen, we're live. We're live. You're so funny. We taking care of business, y'all. While we out. They never hear the partner. He trying to. I'm like, what's going on? All right, a minute, and we're ready. Shout out to everybody watching online. Y'all see the behind the scenes. Actually, this is a great view. So I may use this view again. Shout out to everybody watching. Yeah, you can see it. Look, this one is live. This is my straight YouTube behind the scenes. Everybody can hear me.
No, I was wondering because sometimes that footage looks good. Like so.
Yeah, no, this one is this one. I don't think they record these. This one was from the straight to the website and straight to the app. People can watch it, but I don't think it's saved. This one will be for posterity. Yay! Because it's been hard for me to find like an angle that people can see everything and get a vibe for what we're doing here. But yeah, it's fun. I'm here. I guess it's Labor Day weekend, y'all. Miami, what's up? Let's go. I want to know. Actually, I'll ask people what they'll be doing. Here we go. You can start yours when you're ready. 30 seconds. Hey. You know, I love Sim. Hey, wagwan, everybody. It's Suzette Speaks live on your radio. I'm excited that I have a special guest with me, attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal. We're in the building. We're talking about planning for your assets when we and those that we love, unfortunately, pass on from this earth, what we can do. Of course, there's a lot more do's and don'ts that we're not able to cover. So we're going to ask, again, take this for informational and educational, even entertainment purposes, but this is not to be taken as legal advice. If you have a specific case where you want information on what to do with your family's assets or how to prepare a will or how to prepare a trust, you must reach out to her or another attorney directly, right? Melissa Wilson, Integrity Legal PA, is here to serve our Caribbean American community. She's over in Sunrise, but you can get a free consultation. How long is the consultation?
A free 30-minute.
That's a lot, y'all. So 30-minute telephone call. She's a call away. If they want to find you, Melissa Wilson, where can they find you?
You can find me online at www.integrity integritylegalfl.com.
Awesome. So we're here having a chat, y'all. We were talking about love and relationships with Miss Chindem earlier, and then we pivot now to making sure you are prepared. So we're getting you prepared, whether it's in love and marriage, and also till death do us part. So we're getting the full circuit, going the full circle today when on Voice of the Caribbean Suzette Speak Show live every Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So Attorney Melissa Wilson, we're talking about handwritten will. So, and generally speaking, in Florida, you got to be careful. A lot of you guys want to write a will on a napkin.
Yeah.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. You have to have certain rules in Florida. As of today's show, the current laws require them, wills to have a witness and to be notarized, and certain things now are required here in Florida. So just be aware. If you need more details on what you need to do or to prepare a will, of course, Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal is here to serve you. So we're going to talk about some scenarios. Will your spouse get everything if you die without a will or a trust? Because a lot of people in our community, unfortunately, do not prepare themselves. They do not have a will. If you don't have a will, I'm talking to you. If you don't prepare yourself, and again, we think we don't have anything, but then when you pass, all of a sudden, everybody have assets. Everybody have what you don't even think is an asset. Yeah, you have an asset. So does it automatically pass to the spouse when there's no will?
Not necessarily. Okay. A lot of people have blended families, right? So blended families mean that you and your spouse are remarried or maybe had a child prior to the marriage. And that means that if you're in that situation where you have a blended family and that person, your spouse died, you only get half of the estate. The rest goes to the children. And even if you have a minor child, you only get what they call a life estate to the estate. So that means that you can't dispose of the property the way you want to, because in the state of Florida, if you do have a property a real property, actually a house, which is most of people's major asset.
You have a car, you have bank account, you have a house. Those are some of the basic ones.
Basic estate is one house and 2 cars and a bank account maybe, and and basically that spouse who now is a single person, probably raising minor children or who has adult children, they're not going to get the full estate if you die without a will or trust. If there is a blended family, meaning that either you have a child before this marriage, or the husband or other person involved in the relationship that's married, because we have all kinds of marriages these days.
We have blended families, you have stepchildren, you have half-cousins, you have people you send for and you raise, you have auntie, you live with your auntie, but it's not really your auntie, it's your mother's best friend.
And that's good to bring that up. How about all these people that are filing for auntie, cousin, sister, brother, all of these things? Problem. If you're not adopted, legally adopted in Florida, meaning going through court to get adoption papers. Right. Meaning that all that person that, let's say my auntie's filed for me and she died and she never legally adopted me, guess what?
Wow.
I'm not an heir to her estate.
That means you're not entitled to anything she leaves. Wow. Any house she left, any cars, any bank accounts, any other things?
If there's other, because what happened, there's other people that might be before me in line. Yeah. Because there's something called intestacy statutes where they're 𝘾𝙧𝙞𝙘𝙚 it's a very legal term, but all it means is that, let's say dad died, then the children get first, then the brothers and sisters, then the grandparents, and then it goes up. There's a whole
the statutes in Florida, the laws in Florida basically map out, if you die without the will, who is next, and then if not them, if you don't have those, who is next, and if they're not alive still, or you can't find them, who is next. So you want to prepare yourself. The point of the conversation is start thinking about this, folks. Yes. There are times now that we can't predict. We are looking at times where things happen where, boy, young people, old people, everybody, you don't even know. You got to give God thanks. I gave God some praise yesterday. I should do it every day. But yesterday, it was just on my heart how grateful I am to be alive. People dropping out in their 30s and 40s, and you looking around like, God, this is different times. So when we don't think it, oh, we're gonna have 40, 50 more, 60 more years, or you never know. And so when
Never
we
know.
think about this, it doesn't happen. People don't like the topic because them feel sad, them calling death towards them. It's not that.
Yes.
We really need to prepare as a community. When we talk about building wealth in our community, first things first is making sure you have a plan for how your money is going to be distributed after you leave. Don't make the pity them fight over it, the grandchildren fight over it. People that come from like huge families like my own, there are 40 grandkids.
Yes.
So when you have one property, maybe your parents are the first generation has died, and then you have to split it, and all those people have to agree or disagree with how things get split, who get buyout. There can be so much that we avoid. So much confusion that we avoid when we properly plan for our own transition.
Yes.
We don't want to perish from the earth, but we have to go see heaven somehow. So everybody have to prepare themselves. And sometimes we don't like to talk about it, but guys, we are bringing it to you now because it's super important.
And one other thing I want to mention that most people don't understand, there are living trusts. So there are things that you can do to help with, taxes and how to get creditors not to get certain assets. There's some protections during life that you can do with a trust. So there, people think of only planning for death, but I'd love to educate our people on, hey, there are living trusts that can also help you plan for your current life, right? So part of the estate planning is not just wills and trusts for death, but also a good person to have is a certified financial planner or some kind of financial planner, and also an accountant. Because let's say you did have all, like, you say, oh, I don't need a will because I already deeded my property to my kid. I already have all my life insurances going to my kid as the beneficiary. You don't need a will or trust. Well, guess what? Everything in your estate without a will or trust is still going to have to go through that probate.
Yes.
Right?
So you think the deed is enough, but not necessarily enough. So you have to really investigate getting a proper will or a proper trust so that people won't have this confusion. After you pass, it's already a grieving process. So no, we want to simplify it and make it as clear as possible what you wanted to happen with the things that you own. And as clear as that can be, we're going to go through a few more scenarios so you can understand why it's important to prepare.
And just to touch on that, what I was saying, life insurance. So you might have a lot of life insurance. They might, if you have a direct beneficiary and you don't properly put it into your wills or trust, wills, your creditors get paid first. Only a trust can really avoid certain things that we can talk about. But
so let's go into the difference. So wills is one thing, but explain what the purpose of a trust is. What is a trust?
A trust is the vehicle to achieving multi-generational wealth. Okay, this is what Paris Hilton, anybody that you see that is a third, fourth, fifth generation wealthy person, that is someone who has a trust. Right.
But anybody can have a trust.
Anybody can have a trust.
So don't let it just don't think of it as the rich and famous.
In fact, I recommend people that have one home and two cars that it's even one home and one car. You're beneficial to get a trust over a will.
And listen, you have to call her. We want you guys to investigate these things so that you can decide for yourself what is the best thing for you.
Absolutely.
And Melissa Wilson at Integrity Legal PA is a law firm that helps and specializes in wills and trust. And so we're having a discussion today for informational purposes to educate the public on how all of this stuff works. And if you own anything, which most of us do, we don't think that we do.
Right.
But most of us own either a home or a car or have assets in a bank account. Even we were talking about it, our digital assets. If you have a YouTube channel, hello somebody, I need to put my stuff in the will so that I can, what happens to the revenue
your
that you have?
Intellectual property is definitely an asset.
Yeah, we think about big businesses and hotels or land or things like that, but there's so much that we own that we don't even really think about it.
You're a YouTube influencer and you're making funds off of that?
Yes, you have to determine who will get that in the unfortunate scenario of your passing, where we have a clear idea of what the intention was. We are going to play out some more scenarios for the public so that if you're listening and you're thinking about what do I need to do to prepare myself better for the future, think about getting a will, think about getting a trust. And then again, an expert like Melissa Wilson will be available to you. Again, she's an attorney from Integrity Legal PA here in Sunrise, and South Florida is her home base. Jamaican American servicing the Caribbean diaspora and beyond. Anybody who would like legal services in this area. Again, she also practices immigration, family law, and more. So Melissa Wilson is telling us more about how trusts work, what is a will, getting us to the bottom of what we can expect to happen to our assets if we're not careful and if we're not prepared. If you're watching us on the app, big up everybody on the Voice of the Caribbean app. Big up everybody watching on the Facebook side, the Instagram, all over. If you're listening in your car, at work, on your lunch break, it's soon be done. Hello, somebody. It's going to be a beautiful Labor Day. We got a break in the rain. If you guys are, you've been around South Florida the last 2 days, listen, those afternoon thunderstorms have been tearing us up. I couldn't even get out the studio yesterday, go in my car and said, no, I'm going to tape 2 video because I couldn't even get in the car. It was like, sometimes in South Florida, you could be driving and then all of a sudden a wall of water just leaked the front of your windshield.
Absolutely.
You're like, I can't see anything, Lord, be with me. But again, we know that in life, we don't like to, especially in our communities, talk about death. We get very nervous. We get uncomfortable. We say to ourselves, more life. And we believe in more life here at Voice of the Caribbean. But we also want to be realistic. And especially as we know, mama, papa, everybody gets to this point where you could be younger, you could be older. We just don't know the time. And we need to be prepared because one of the things that will help our community is organizing ourselves in a way that wealth is transferred, what I'm saying, decent and in order instead of chaotic and unpredictable and expensively, because people have to go to probate anyway and they have to go to court more time than not to sort out what you did and put on a piece of paper, right?
Absolutely.
So thinking about, especially if you got kids, especially if you got any relatives really that you want to have any of your assets, there are so many things that you can do right now in preparation, right? They call it preemptive. Before the problem is there, you already solve it. Absolutely. You can do so by creating a will or creating a trust. So she's breaking down all of these legal terms for us today. Absolutely. If they want more information, how can they reach you?
You can give me a call at 954-317-9934. And I do give 30-minute free telephone consultations. And
Excited.
Also, if you want to reach me on the web, or book an appointment on my website, it's www.integritylegalfl.com.
Listen, we got about 10 minutes. We're going to go over some more scenarios. What if you have a spouse who died, but in their will, they didn't name you as a spouse? Sometimes people get messy and they want to leave you out the will. You did something, they're not forgive you. The trust wasn't rebuilt. Hey, we're not getting into people's business. But can somebody who you're married to leave you off the will and it stand in court?
Well, in Florida, they have protection against that. That's called the elective share, okay? So what an elective share allows a person who's pretermitted is the term in legal terms. But all that means is that spouse is entitled to a third of the estate, no matter what that will or trust says.
Oh, wow.
Now, let's get one thing straight, because a lot of people are married to people who they haven't seen in 20 years, 30 years.
Oh, well.
Now, remember, if you die and you were married and you never got divorced, now who was the next heir in line? That
Melissa,
person you haven't seen in 20 years.
Melissa, right? dig up people business now.
I try to dig up people business.
Listen, me have a family member. I'm not even gonna go into who, because they're gonna be mad. I ain't talking nobody business. Who, not until she was ready to be married did she know that the person was married. It wasn't until they were applying for the marriage license, and he's like, "Oh no, somebody married," and I was like, "How do people do this?" But people, it's so
we know why we can't really disclose why.
We're not judge because you expect somebody that has been dating you to be like, I'm a divorcee, but oh no, we just haven't been living together. The paperwork's still on file.
Yeah,
This happens a lot.
a lot.
So
And then you die, and guess who gets it? That person you haven't seen in 20 years.
the person was still married on the
Instead of
paper.
your child or someone who you want that to go to, because what you didn't
That
plan.
is an incentive to look into your business and getting your paperwork, especially if you're not living together and you're no longer together, divorced. Sometimes they say it's cheaper to keep her, but if you pass, them
It's
CM1,
not cheaper to
them CM1 on the paper before you pick it in, before everybody.
Absolutely.
So the new person don't get nothing, and the pick them don't get first dibs.
Yeah,
It's a very messy situation, so you got to make sure. Okay, so we know that it can't be written out of a spouse's will. At least you have some protection in Florida.
Yeah.
So there's some
a little bit of protection.
areas of gray to that, but just to give you an idea. So
Yes.
what about if your immediate relative died and left a will? Do you have to bring it to court?
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of people think, oh, my family member died, they have a will, that's all you have to do. No. That will has to go through probate, that process that we were talking about. And only licensed Florida attorneys can take a case into a probate court.
Right.
So just know that even though you have that will, there's still a second step. Now, trust offers different avenues that can avoid probate if it's done properly, and the trust, whoever did the trust, because a lot of people are doing trust online, getting it from getting it from Google search.
We're not going
and
in
that we're not
it's risky. It's risky.
It's risky because if it's not meet the proper channels for Florida, it will not count, and then you will die just like if you had nothing.
So you were telling us what is better, a will or a trust?
It just depends on your estate. Some people with a very small estate and can't afford a trust because trusts are generally more expensive than a will
to create.
You still better off doing a will than not.
Okay.
But obviously the trust is definitely one of the better vehicles
because it avoids probate.
It can avoid that probate.
It may. So there's a gray area there. Hello. So we're talking to attorney Melissa Wilson from Integrity Legal PA, serving the Caribbean American community on the greater Fort Lauderdale and South Florida community in immigration and family law and estate planning and probate. Again, probate is the process by which a court decides how a person's assets are distributed after they pass away. So as you're saying, nobody can just take up a will and say, okay, this is what grandma wanted. It still must see in Florida a courtroom, and a probate is something, again, that it will cost money. Usually you have to get an attorney and you have to go through that process. So we're just defining our terms. So if you're just joining us, Suzette Speak Show Live, we're wrapping up, but we're having a great time here. Friday before Labor Day. I hope you guys have some great plans, but she also has some plans for this Labor Day. So she will be around to continue this conversation on Saturday. You have a program coming up.
I am inviting everyone who wants to come. I'm having a free Wills and Trust seminar at my church, Our Father's Kingdom Ministries International,
aka Papa San Church.
aka Papa San Church. 4412 this is the address, 4412 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida 33351, and it's going to be from 2:30 to 4, light refreshments.
Awesome. So we're going to get into a couple more questions. If you want to call in, 850. Don't wait to the end. Our audience love to wait to the end of the show and start call. Hit the like button if you're watching online. Call now, 850. Or can say, call me now. 850-446. Rest in peace, Miss Cleo. You know, that's a South Florida legend. Rest in peace, Miss Cleo. South Florida legend. 850-446-0562 gets you right in touch with Suzette Speaks here with attorney Melissa Wilson. 850-446-0562 gets you right in touch. We're talking about estate planning. In Florida, we have something called the homestead exemption. Can you talk about how that protects people? What does it really mean regarding probating as far as the property, what they call a real property, the host is concerned? If somebody dies and they have a car or a house and there's a homestead.
Good question. So if in Florida we have homestead protections, right? We have what homestead protection does is it helps to relieve your assets from creditors, right? Except a mortgage, obviously. If you don't pay your mortgage, you can still take it. But how it pertains to someone who has passed, if a spouse and a minor child, or just a spouse, is left behind, a surviving spouse and a minor child, that homestead property now can be that has to be probated as well. So let's say you die without a will or trust. Although you're the surviving spouse, you still have to get that property probated.
All right, we have a final caller. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon. Yes.
Sure, my phone number is 954-317-9934.
Awesome. Thank you, caller. One more time, your number, please. Attorney
Yes.
Melissa Wilson.
One more time, 954-317-9934. And I do give a free 30-minute telephone consultation.
All right, Miss Williams, thank you for your call. All right, we're getting calls coming through. This show almost done, so you have to go call her after the show. No, the free time done now, or you can see her
Yeah, still free.
tomorrow.
I can see you
30
tomorrow.
minutes, free phone consultation. The whole point of today's show is, listen, let's be prepared. So if your immediate family member died without a will or trust, let's just leave them with that. What do they need to do? Somebody passed and they didn't have the paperwork that we're trying to tell you to get together now, so it doesn't happen to you. What happens? What should you do?
You need to contact an attorney because, like I said, in the state of Florida, a licensed attorney needs to probate that will,
Yeah.
or probate the property if you have no will or no trust.
So one more time, she'll be on Saturday. I know it's Labor Day. I'm gonna ask her what she's gonna be doing outside of helping the public and giving free seminars so people can know what to do. When the conversations continue, she'll be around. That's tomorrow on Saturday.
Yes.
And where can they find you tomorrow?
You can find me at 4412 North University Drive, Lauderdale, Florida 33351, and that's our Father's Kingdom Ministry International Church. And we would love to have you. It's going to be a free wills and trust seminar. Light refreshments will be served.
So come eat, come full your belly. But you said 2:30.
Let me know about full belly.
Okay, easy.
Lick something.
Okay, come wet the mouth and enjoy. No, but the information
is invaluable.
Is what we want you to get.
Yes.
The information is priceless.
And it's a free seminar, like I said, free wills and trust seminar at 4412 North University Drive, Lauderdale, Florida 33351. And if you need to call me, give me a call. I can also give you the information, 954-317-9934. Again, that's 954-317-9934.
Listen, I know her in full disclosure. Listen, but Melissa Wilson is for the people, as them say on the commercial then. But no. She has a heart to serve, just the sweetest spirit that you could meet. She has been in as she described, the legal business for a very, very long time. Yes. Now, with her own practice and office, the main office is in Sunrise. However, she can serve you wherever you are in South Florida. Your needs as it relates to family law, immigration, wills and trust.
I do real estate law as well. If you buy a tax deed or a foreclosure, you can contact me to get a quiet title judgment. A lot of different things. Just give me a call and see if I can help you.
Entertainment. Let's put that in there.
Entertainment law.
So when you talk about contracts for, different musicians and people who have, videography or photography or books and things like this.
You want to get it copywritten.
Yes, copywriting.
Trademark or service
mark
for your business.
Listen, we might have to bring her back. She's such a wonderful resource for our community.
Absolutely.
She's so knowledgeable. Yes. So right now we are grateful that she has spent some time again right here on the Suzette Speak Show. We have about a minute left. I want her to just leave her phone number one more time and her website, please.
Yes, please give me a call for your free 30-minute consultation, 954-317-9934. Again, 954-317-9934.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks for coming, y'all. Thanks for listening. Lisa B up next.
This Labor Day, September 2nd, local reggae music festival, 𝘾𝙖𝙧𝙞𝙘𝙚 comes to Miramar Reggae Center. 𝘾𝙖𝙧𝙞𝙘𝙗𝙚 all white, plus the white